Hey, GMOs. What are GMOs and why should you care?
Big stacks. I ain't Lizzo, but my pocket's fat.
GMO is a common term referring to plants and crops that have been genetically modified on a cellular level to give them like favorable traits or take away traits that are not as favorable to us for growing profitable crops. It's very common nowadays. Well, GMO stands for genetically modified organism, and people confuse that with just genetically modified. Everything that you eat, every vegetable, every fruit that you put in your mouth is one of them. It's either GMO or just GM. Tomato, and then take the seeds. Bruh. So a genetically modified plant is a plant that our ancestors have bred over thousands of years since the birth of agriculture. And we just breed the plant for more favorable traits, but it's done in a more natural way. Like, go harvest all your tomatoes at the end of the year. Biggest tomato, you take that tomato, you get all the seeds, and grow new tomato plants from that tomato. And theoretically, your new plants would grow bigger tomatoes. And this just goes on and on over time. And it changes the way things look. It changes the way the plant is. We genetically modify it. But GMOs are kind of controversial. They're quite controversial. But I'm here to tell you the difference, because everything you eat is one of them. Yeah. Why are they so controversial? Why are GMOs so controversial? If we use genetic modification in other fields like the medical industry for GM insulin, why, when it gets to food and agriculture, does it get a little touchy? We start to question it, if it's ethical or not. GMOs can make plants grow bigger. They can make them grow in the cold better. They can make them resistant to pests, etc. There are certain genetically modified plants called BT plants that have borrowed a gene from a bacteria, and the gene makes the plants make a protein that then destroys the digestive system of the insects eating those plants. Pesticides can usually be washed off, but like, you just bred a plant and made it, the poison is now in the plant. That's not necessarily bad, because poison is kind of just a perception game. One thing could kill someone or one species, and it could just like not even do anything to the next species. So this is where the GMOs get a little dark. All right, so get ready. Scientists have bred certain plants to be more resistant to herbicides. And the reason this is bad is because farmers are now loading these up with herbicides and pesticides and things that are not necessarily the best. At this point in time, almost all the cash crops in the American agriculture industry and even around the world are now herbicide resistant. Now, they've bred most of these plants to be immune to glyphosate. And this means that we're using glyphosate a lot more than we used to be. And another thing that happened is living conditions for certain livestock animals have gone down. And if you just want to eat some good food that's not necessarily bad for you, you gotta pay a pretty penny, boy. All right, that was enough of that. We can switch it up, and we can get back to the normal plants. All right. Watermelon didn't look like what it look like now. So you might not have remembered when we learned in it's probably the 7th grade about the Egyptians, but the Egyptians, they liked their agriculture. They grew watermelons. This is what a watermelon used to look like. French painter made this little watermelon courtesy of him. This is what watermelons look like now. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. We bred the watermelon to have less of that rind in the middle. There's less rind and more redness, okay? That's what happened. We didn't do it through splicing DNA. We did it from, oh, this watermelon has less pith. Let's grow this one again. Do you like broccoli, but you don't with cauliflower? Wrong. They're the same plant. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and there's a few more that come with that, all come from the same plant. They just were, a different thing was bred, a different thing was favored, and we all got, 7 people had 7 different vegetables come out of that. Another one is corn. Corn looked like, I'll show a picture right here, but it looks like 4 little nuggets. How did we get 1 million nuggets? We now have 1 million yellow nuggets out of the 4 brown things that was. Alright?
Yeah, like, hold on, need to calm down. Talking about Spicoli, then we spun the whole block round. It's like Lego, sound brick dog.
Yeah.